Welcome to Techstination. Joining us is Simon Dudley, the head of analyst relations for the video collaboration business at Logitech. Thanks for joining us, Simon.
Hey, thanks for having me, Fred. Excited to be here.
Well, this has probably been a very exciting time for Logitech in a lot of ways and what's going on with video collaboration because everyone's doing it. So tell me what it's meant.
Well, it's really interesting. I've actually been in the video conferencing since I was a small boy back in 1992. And for most of my career, I've sat there thinking, why aren't people using video more? Of course, this appalling pandemic has made people reevaluate how they want to live their lives. And we hate kind of talking about this as a good thing because patently a pandemic is never a good thing. But equally, people are realizing that there is a different way of living their lives and going to work and doing things. And it may not be to everyone's taste, but the world is changing as a result of this, of these changes in the way that we have to live right now. And I don't think we're going to go back. So from our point of view, it's a really interesting experiment. And for me personally, who's loved video since 1992, I'm really excited actually about the new world we might develop as a result of this.
So you're thinking this can open a lot of doors, change long-term thinking when it comes to using video?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in the research that we and many others have done, it becomes apparent about 12% of knowledge workers work from home at any given day before pandemic. All the research we're seeing indicates it will be something like 50 to 80% of people will work from home on any given day moving forward. Think of the transformative effect that will have on industry, on the way people sell, on the way people buy, on the way that people interact with their colleagues at work, the traffic in the local city you're in. I mean, I used to travel constantly, and everywhere I went, from Jakarta to Shanghai to Austin, would tell me, oh, we've got the worst city, we got the worst traffic in the world. And I would agree with everybody because everyone has seemed to have it. Imagine a world where the rush hour actually gets spread out, or that most people aren't even in it. It's exciting. I'm genuinely feel that we could change the way that people live their lives.
Beyond the work environment, there have been a lot of personal connections that have taken place out of necessity online with video conferencing.
Yes, there has. In fact, actually, I got involved in video conferencing back in 1992 because I wanted to talk to my dad. He was back in London. I was living in Melbourne, Australia at the time. And I felt that $2 a minute to ring the UK from Australia was a bit expensive. So I hoped to have a better relationship with him because of video. And interestingly enough, by the time we lost him 7 years ago, I was actually living in San Diego. And I would talk to him every couple of days on video, and our connection was never better. And I speak to my mum every Sunday afternoon, or morning my time, afternoon hers. She's back in the UK. I'm now in Austin, Texas. And we have a lovely relationship as a result. And I think millions of people are seeing the benefit of that now.
This month, you announced Logitech solutions for Zoom rooms with Alexa for Business. Tell me what that's about.
Well, a number of things, actually. We've been working with the Amazon folks for a while now. Amazon, of course, is really getting into the business space. They've been in the personal space, of course, for years. Many of us have one of those Amazon ladies. I don't want to say her name because she's in the room next to me. And those products have been very popular with users. The opportunity to now walk into meeting rooms and use the same technology, something people are completely familiar with, you know, Alexa, start my meeting, for example, is really good for users because they already know how to do it from their personal lives. It's also good because they don't need to touch anything. It wasn't our original intention when we started this relationship with Amazon, but of course, in a pandemic world, then it's really good not to have to touch things.
And so describe for us what this system consists of and how it works.
Well, very simply, many of us are used to the Amazon pucks, right? The little, whether it's the Echo or some of the other smaller products. Well, effectively, what they've done is build that technology into the Logitech solutions. So you don't need the puck separately. You simply walk in the room, the microphones that would already pick up the video call and are obviously of a super high quality will now simply be listening for the keyword. And when they hear the keyword, then it will go off and do the Amazon event, whichever one of those you've decided to allow.
And this is a subscription program. And tell us about the hardware involved.
Sure. So the subscription program comes from AWS, from Amazon Web Services. It's their Amazon for Business application. It depends, pricing depends on units, but it's something like $7 a month. And it allows you to do all sorts of interesting things, not just the standard Amazon things, but you can even add your own kind of recipes, for example. As far as the hardware is concerned, Logitech small room bundles are starting at $1,000 and go up depending on the sophistication that you want to have in the room.
Tell us about the different cameras and microphones. I don't know if you can get into those as well, that you have available that enable all of this technology to be used better and more easily.
Sure. I mean, we do a whole bunch of, a whole range of products, but let me concentrate briefly on two. So for smaller meeting rooms, typically we would talk 10 by 10 or 10 by 10 feet, 3 by 3 meters. In the old days, 6 months ago, that would have been a meeting room for perhaps 6 people. Maybe in the modern era, it will be a meeting room for 4 people. Super wide angle lenses to make certain everyone's in it. Speakers and microphones built into the device. Sits in the room, captures everyone. No microphones required on tables, no speakers required on tables, none of that stuff. Very simple. You either walk in with your laptop and plug it in and use the application that's on your laptop, because it's simply a USB device, or you have one of our touch panels connected to a PC in the back, and that would run a Zoom room or a Microsoft Teams room or a Google Meet room as an example, and you simply get on with your meeting. If you want a larger room than that, the use case is identical. So touch panels look identical. The difference would be we go to optical cameras and larger speakers. We call that system Rally, and that would easily cope with, depending on configuration, rooms of 25 to 30 people. So we have different models of that between like 8 people all the way up to 30 or so.
And in the consumer space, tell me, and consumers and gaming, this is big there too.
Yes, it is. Of course, in the consumer and gaming world, it would primarily be our webcams. Painterly, Logitech is a very large player in the webcam market, and we have a whole range of products there. Probably the most interesting for the purposes of this conversation would be our Brio device. We also call it the 4K webcam in our gaming world. It's 4K. It allows you to do beautiful quality. The call I'm in with you right now is actually on a Logitech Brio, and it makes certain that you're always well lit. It allows you to frame the picture well by zooming in without losing quality. The audio is extremely good, and these solutions even do things like Windows Hello, so you can unlock your Windows PC with your webcam, a bit like you would on your iPhone with your if you're in an Apple environment.
And we're using the Brio on this end as well, and the quality is terrific.
Yes. Yeah. In fact, I assumed you were, because you've got a window behind you and you're not looking like you're in the witness protection program. So I kind of guessed it was a Brio. Most webcams would produce some funny effects.
Terrific. So tell us, we know that earnings for the company were out earlier this week, and a great one once again, but this type of technology is really helping to fuel demand, I suppose.
Yes, it is. I mean, actually, we did announce our numbers the other day. We in the video collaboration division, we did $147 million worth of video conferencing solutions. We are by far the biggest provider of meeting room solutions globally. According to the analysts, about 45-ish%, so a little under half of all video collaboration solutions put in meeting rooms are Logitech today. I wouldn't like to hazard a guess as to what percentage of webcams are ours. A lot. And we're doing very nicely. And as an industry, we're doing very nicely. So, and I think that's because people realize there's a better way of living their lives than simply driving places or flying places. I was talking to my boss the other day. 2 years ago, I flew 150,000 air miles in a single year. He asked me, when we get back to normal, whatever that is, how much traveling do you think you'll do? And I said, I'll probably do 2 shows a year. Now, maybe I'm an extreme case, but many people are realizing that our old trajectory wasn't sustainable. So have to think differently.
A lot of time and money spent on travel that can be saved here. So tell us, has there been an impact with the pandemic on you being able to keep up with the demand with supply?
On our conference cams, we've been very good at keeping up. You know, hats off to our production folks. They've done a wonderful job. Webcams, well, yes. I mean, in simple terms, you may have noticed Logitech webcams, not from us, but from third parties, got rather expensive there for a little while. And they're still on backlog a little bit. My recommendation is, it's a bit like Disneyland, right? Don't wait for the queue to get, or the line, should I say, to go down before joining it. If you want Logitech product, then particularly in webcams and headsets, order now and know, depending on product, you may have to wait a couple of weeks. But don't wait a couple of weeks to order, because you'll have to wait a couple of weeks then as well.
Terrific. And of course, the website is logitech.com. Simon Dudley, thank you so much for taking the time with us.
Thank you, Fred. Appreciate it.